What are your impressions? I mean, I love it. My first time. Work through that
work with everyone here. And what I ask, if we could, let's work together and partner together so that way we can bring food equity, food justice and security to the Superior Township residents, specifically in the Danbury Green Sycamore Meadows area. The reason why I ask this is because I just don't want to be a one-man shop. I would love to work with the township, each and every one of you, because I don't know each and every one of you, and I would love to work with each and every one of you to start a new relationship, so that way I can get to know who you are and what you like for me as an organization. Also, if possible, if there's any trees available from the Huron Dental Center, that if it comes up in a later date, we would like to work with that group to see if they are allocating any trees that can be donated to our organization, so that way we can put in some fruit trees on our project if possible. Also from the Hyundai tree fund, if we can work together on that also. The reason why I ask that is because we have taken out invasive trees and bad trees in that area. We would like to put in new trees that's sustainable in that community, so that way the residents in that area can have the opportunity to see the growth of peach, pear, apple, and nectarine trees for the future generations. Also, I would like to give an update that the group is called Three Brothers Tree Service. Hopefully I have their name right. They are delaying the work that's being done at the property. There's a lot of tree shrub that's being pushed back to the property line, and also there's a lot of tree stumps that could be a trip hazard. I don't want no one to walk through there because we don't have it fenced in yet, but somebody might just walk through there. It could be dusk at night, it could be early in the morning, trip and hit their head. It is a liability on us because we did sign a contract, but I asked the council if they could talk to the tree trimming company and ask if they could work on the contract that they promised you guys, because this is something that is between you and that company, but yet we signed a contract and we would like to get some more work done, so that way we can progress forward before we can start planting, because we are 9 weeks behind for planting garlic and also many different fruit trees and plants for next season.
So to see, when Juan was in my office and we were signing contracts, I asked him to check into, what's it called, Three Brothers, to call them, and he said he was going to do that because I had the same concerns. I ride that way to get to my residence, and I see the stumps, and any kid can go over there and trip on them. It's so dangerous, very dangerous. So I did ask him to check on that and make sure that they get back to work.
Thank you, because
if I could address that, so Three Brothers really do not have the equipment to remove those stumps that are in there. Some of them are quite large, so they gave us a pretty good price overall. So I asked Dan Spiker, who used to do, he did a lot of work for us, including stump removal.
excuse me, I'm deaf in one ear. Could you please speak up in the mic because I can barely hear you.
So I asked Dan Spiker, who is a firefighter in Saline, but runs a business called ProSite, to go out and give me a bid on what he would charge to come out there with an excavator to remove everything down. Just take it down and get all the roots out of it. Because Three Brothers just can't do it. They really did not realize there was some pretty large trees back there. And so we've only paid them half at this point, but they will not be able to finish the job that they completely promised. So to follow up on that, Dan should be getting me a bid. He did the whole back. Remember when we had the stumps in the back here? He charges $1,200 to remove those stumps, and those were much larger than that down there. So hopefully we will get a bid from him and we can approve that.
In the month of October, going into November, I did mention to Three Brothers when I called the fire department and asked if there could be a controlled burn, if they can gather small groups of the debris and just do a controlled burn. Um, there happened to be an argument out there that day between the workers. One of the workers quit, and it has delayed our progress going forward. Um, it kind of looks bad for the community of Sycamore Meadows and Danbury Green because you have a lot of shrubs that's pushed up. It needs help, and it can start a rodent problem. It could be a safety hazard. A young child could walk through there and get lost and get hurt. So all I ask, can
Yeah,
you please?
I understand that, TC, and I realize they are not gonna be able to perform. That's why I called Dan Spiker with Juan, and he said he was gonna go out and would get us a bid. But my question to Laura is, does the project need to go back to the planning commission for a site
Not
plan?
this aspect of it, no,
No?
Not this, no, well, that's correct, not for this act.
right, just,
The aspect of what? Of removing and clearing, yeah, that's fine. But, you know, like fencing and things like that, do we need, no?
No,
no,
All right, so TC, hopefully we can get her done, you know?
Okay.
So
okay.
TC, just want to make sure, I voted no
Thank you.
on the project at that time because I had concerns that we had done enough due diligence on it to make sure that it would be safe and effective. There's more information that we will have in this meeting about that particular issue. So you'll stay tuned.
Okay, and also one last thing, and I'm sorry to hold up the mic or everything, but we are going to be adding leaves, piles, and wood chips in designated areas, so that way we can start in the clear areas to start making compost out there. So we're just trying to work right along, but not in their way, but in clear spots. So I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Irma Golden, and I live at 1585 Shepherd Drive. I've been here for over 27 years, and I'm here today to introduce myself. I'm here today to introduce myself as a candidate for supervisor of Superior Charter Township. Currently, I am the deputy supervisor. This position has allowed me to work with residents throughout the township to gain exposure in various departments and those employees in those departments. I also serve as one of 3 residents on the Superior Township Board of Review. And this is part of the assessor's office. If my fellow residents vote me to be the supervisor, I will still be on the board of review, but just in another capacity. I have a bachelor's of business administration from Eastern Michigan University. My major was management. I also spent a year at Central University working on a master's for human resources. Many of you know that I am the owner, the broker of Golden Real Estate, and I have transitioned my responsibilities to 2 professionals within my company. In this position, though, I have utilized my managerial skills, my team building skills, my experience, and communication skills to serve others. My most recent work history was with UAW Chrysler National Training Center as a training specialist. The position I held involved creating, developing, implementing, and presenting programs to UAW represented and management employees. These programs included Employee Assistance Program, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Respectful Workplace, Equal Application of Agreement, Sexual Harassment Prevention, and more. All of the classes I have taught are part of my core belief. If you're adding up the years, 25 years at UAW Chrysler National Training Center, I was a realtor for about 10 or 15 years while working at Chrysler also. I am a mother, a grandmother, a sister, an aunt, a friend, a neighbor, and have raised an amazing daughter as a single parent who, although she is a Spartan, she earned her master's in special education recently, concentration in autism spectrum at Eastern Michigan University, my university. I have two outstanding grandchildren, or grandsons, a strong family, and again, the most amazing friends and neighbors. I hope I will have your support or earn your support. I listen, I ask questions to seek understanding, to be informed with decisions impact the health, the safety, and the general welfare of our residents and our township. In conclusion, because I know my 3 minutes is about over, I ask that you judge me always by my words, by my actions, and by my deeds. I'm not perfect, but I am golden. Thank you.
State your name, please. Know you.
Sure. My name is Ramona Parker Mohammed, and I've been a resident of Superior Town for 35 years. I stand before you today with concerns regarding the recent fraud issue that was listed in the board packet under the controller's report. My concerns came about after reading the points stated under the two instances of fraud. The first is the issue of the vendor SLC meter reaching out in June about an invoice that, according to township records, had been paid by check in April. My question, what is the protocol for bank reconciliations? It is obvious that they are not done monthly, as this issue would have been seen sooner. The second is the issue of the wire transfer. I found it stunning that the treasurer did not recognize that the correspondence was not from the email of the clerk. I'm on a committee that Clerk Finley chairs, and while I received only a few emails from her, I recognize her email address. So I have the following questions. Is there an alert email message received when an email is from outside the township government offices? Many organizations have this, which alerts you when it's not a real email address. The second is, what is the protocol for processing wire transfer requests, and what is the average number of wire transfers processed monthly? The report states that the transfer of over $8,000 was done immediately. This means without any supporting documentation, without a verification conversation with Clerk Finley or with Nancy Mason in the accounting area. There is mention of a journal entry being requested over a month later. I'd like to know what general ledger accounts were involved in that journal entry. The report reads that Ms. Mason went to Clerk Finley for supporting documentation when the journal entry request was made. And this leads me to ask, why didn't the treasurer follow the same protocol upon receipt of the original email? These scenarios cause me to ask, are monthly P&L or income statements provided in the board packets? I review the balance sheets, which are cumulative and labeled incomplete, which I don't understand what that means, and I'm a finance person. But a monthly profit and loss will reflect monthly activity and allow for a review of the transactions by the board and the constituents immediately. And as a side note, why do we not have an ICS account for our bank accounts that have balances over 250K? And an ICS account is a sweep account, which protects us, which protects our money. So, yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who has a comment? Yes.
Linda Baker, 8512 Ashton Court. I wanted to speak to you about the Committee to Promote Superior Township tonight. The Committee to Promote Superior Township, as you all have heard at some time in the past, Our mission statement is to foster pride, unity, and a sense of place among Superior Township residents. And we exist at the behest of you, the board. And the active participants that we currently have on the committee have decided that we would like to have a more regular interface with the Board of Trustees. And we would like to get a standing agenda item. I communicated with Clerk Finley about this. She was very supportive of the community of Superior Township and what we wanted to do. And we determined that probably the best place on the agenda would be like under communications. But in my ignorance, I was one day late to submit for getting it on the agenda this month. So you probably see it on the agenda in December. Just to refresh, I told you what our mission statement is. We normally meet on the third Wednesday of the month, except in November and December, and we meet exclusively via Zoom. It's open to anyone that shows up. Somebody shows up that we don't know, they got into our Zoom meeting by mistake. But there's a waiting room and an exit, so it's closely controlled.
Recording in progress.
And it's the third Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock. We meet for exactly an hour and a half or shorter if we're done. And if you need the link, it appears on any agenda, or you can, it's also on the website. And the exception for November and December is a combined meeting, so our next meeting will be on Wednesday, December 6th at 7 o'clock. Come on in if you'd like to participate. And in the future, when we have a regular agenda item, we want to keep it short and concise. And we're looking at something that's new to many of our committee members called an infograph, which is like, it's sort of like bullet points, but it's a little more visual. And so that is our intention, and it's my hope that eventually this grows into a two-way conversation, very brief each month, so that we're on the same page continuously.
So just so I understand, Brenda, are you asking that you be the committee, be one of the reports here?
No, we're gonna do it under communications.
Under communications?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Yes. Kelly.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Goolsby. I'm community health worker for Washington County's Health Department. And I come before you on behalf of family Sycamore Meadows and Danbury Green. I work with CLR on Saturdays, and to Mr. TC's point, you've got to do something urgently about those tree stumps. The kiddos, after we get them playing on Saturday, they like to go to the library, and it's not safe for them. And so that I just plead the board to do something immediately about those stumps for my babies. So, and you are truly golden. And I look forward for you to serve this community. And I will do anything and everything to make sure that you get there. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports. Okay. Sorry, we're moving down to approval of agenda. Thank you. So can I get a motion on the agenda as presented? So moved.
Support.
Did you say you have some changes?
Yeah, the one, I just wanted to strike one item for tonight. That would be item A, motion to review and approve amendments to the planning district library. I have not received an answer from the county yet on the match grant they're offering. And I don't have the final cost to the library because the last bit will be on the board tonight to be approved. And so for those reasons, it's a little quick. Okay. With that, any other?
I have one on item under new business 10.
I'm thinking that this is the motion we talked about last time, unless does anybody own this other than maybe? Okay, so the motion, the motion was to redesignate the funds from the Getty Park Reserve Funds to cover Getty's road pathway for 2024. So that's what that motion was. It wasn't about the trees.
So,
So you're correcting it, give us the
To
correction
correct it to or motion
to redesignate funds.
these funds from the Getty's Park Reserve Funds to revenue, Getty's Park revenue, to cover the 200,000 Getty's road pathway.
so to cover the pathway, the extra 200,000.
Yes, so,
Got it.
yes, got it.
All right, thank you. Okay, anybody else have any changes? Seeing none with those two changes, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That takes us then down to, presentations and public. I got a presentation for public hearing.
I'm sorry. Okay, there you are.
But we have none tonight anyway, so we have no presentation, no public hearings tonight. And then it moves down to, the consent agenda, which will be, no, we haven't done this before, so we might need a little help from our attorney. First of all, I think we can't approve the minutes, those need to be done, Fred.
You're gonna do a consent agenda. First, you have to, does anyone want to remove anything from the?
Fred, you gotta come up to the mic, please. Well, you can help about it. Thank you.
The key for that, with the consent agenda is if anybody wants to remove anything from the consent agenda, to make a motion to have that item removed from the consent agenda and be put into the regular agenda. Then you would make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which would then move that. Yeah.
So what we have is number 9, so 9 needs to go up above. Items removed from the consent agenda.
Well, no, well, it wouldn't have to go up. You still would discuss that under item 9.
Yeah.
But the motion.
But we need to make the motion to
Right.
do that.
To remove any item from the consent.
So do we do that now?
Yeah, we can do that right now.
So I would like to, I'd
I
like
would
to,
say, do we, like, if we're gonna remove something now, do we do it now or do we do it after the report?
You remove it now,
You're not going through
and then you would
that.
vote on the consent agenda that as not as,
Okay, so the reports can also be part of the consent agenda.
Yes.
So we move from it.
That's the
whole idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
okay,
it. Go ahead.
so I do have a question. If I just wanna, I don't wanna remove, like, let's say the firemen, the fire
Can you
department.
talk into your mic, please?
I don't actually wanna remove the whole, for instance, fire department or building department report, but I have a recommendation to improve them. Just to add a column for, I said this last time, prior year to date and year to date, so we can compare your summaries.
I didn't prepare the.
Okay, we talked about it last time, but I'm just asking, so I don't wanna really remove too.
well, I don't think it can be removed. What you would want to do is
She wants something extra,
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
We will let the chief know.
Just send them a request.
Same as yours. So I'd like to pull out the controller's report. And the treasurer's investment report. And the bills for payment.
Controllers, treasurers, and bills.
Now you have the sheriff's department here.
Right, like, I have a question. For
So if we're already, the consent agenda, the purpose is that we're not going to discuss anything else. So you're removing that now from what you want to discuss.
and then I just want to make some recommendations for the other ones, and we just said that we could send that recommendation.
Okay.
Although, there's one other thing.
I want to ask, because I've
Say that.
asked you last, where is bill for?
I know the second page.
Yeah.
And the second page. The other one,
It's a D under consent agenda.
It's D on the report.
It's
On the first page. D, on the first page, right here, on the reports, D. Right before, right above item 9, right there, D.
Oh.
right, right.
Okay, we have a location now in the,
yes,
okay.
because it's a part of the,
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, so,
we don't discuss it yet, we're not discussing it.
no, I just want to, we are going to talk about the false alarm stuff later. I noticed in the fire department report, so I don't know if we should pull the whole thing out, that's why I'm saying this one, that I didn't see any false alarms, they're calling it something else now.
So you want to pull the sheriff's department to discuss it at this point, is what you're saying?
No, fire department, just do fire department. The sheriff's, I don't have to. Fire department.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want?
I would like to pull the resolution.
No, Jen, that's not a
Resolution is not part of consent agenda.
The Senate general ends with.
Says 8, everything under 8.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah,
And
that's
go through
it.
the record.
Yeah.
Did a little differently. All right, so we have, all right, so.
They do it the exact same way I'm watching.
Mhm.
I don't believe that there's a vote on pulling it out. Remember, once
Right.
it pulled out, it's pulled out.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
So
it.
we pulled out at this point under reports, fire, controller, and treasurer's investment reports, and bills for payment. Again, then. Okay, so do we vote on that, Fred?
No.
No, you vote.
I would like to move to approve the consent agenda for, reports under section 8,
With the exception of.
with the exceptions of fire department controller's report, treasurer's investment report, and the bills for payment and record of disbursements.
Support.
All in favor of that, say aye. Any? None. So, you know, I meant to
Is
call.
that done on the roll call? President's
We
asking.
can't get the grace this time.
You want to do a roll call?
So I just-
I don't know.
If it involves.
Yeah, because
expenditure
it's
funds,
approved.
Huh?
It's approved.
expenditure funds.
I did have 2 items to check.
Well, so next month, you can do that next month.
Got one.
That's why you got.
So now we're gonna go to the ones that the questions are.
Yes. So starting with the controller's report. I want to commend, Keith and Nancy for doing this, first of all. This is something we could have used eons ago. It's just great because it gives us a summary of what's going on and what's happened since, the last time we met. This one goes back, this one's actually looking at September 30th, but it's just so nice to be able to look at this and know what the issues are and, know where we're increasing revenues and whatnot. I think the item that we really do need to talk about on here are there's a couple, and I know that there's a discussion later to talk about the fraud issues. But he's identifying them in this report. So if you want to use or take those issues and just talk about it when we discuss the fraud later, that's fine, unless you want to do it now. But I want to keep this out so that we can refer to it when we talk about that on the agenda, later on.
On one of the new business.
Yeah,
items.
so that's why I'm pulling this out, just so that we can have it.
So you're not gonna go through it now. You
Now,
wanna
we're
refer
gonna,
to it.
otherwise, we're gonna-
Okay. Got it.
with the treasurer's investment report, if you go to the very first page, we've talked a lot about, we heard tonight from, I don't remember what his name was, the resident who served on with the sweeping accounts. Lisa, do you have any updates on the sweeping accounts?
I do. We have looked into sweeping accounts. We've talked to the auditor about them. We've even attended a meeting with the auditor of one of our banks. One of our banks does not do sweeping. So what we have done, and then also the interest rate on sweeping accounts right now is not as high as the interest rates on CDs and J funds. So we have invested money in those avenues rather than to put them in to sweeping accounts. And then also too, if he needed money, because like with our J funds, we can immediately request $1 million or whatever amount of money that we need. We can get that money. If we had them in sweeping accounts, that cost, that it would cost us to actually get that money to do whatever it needs is at a much higher rate than it is if we had it invested in J funds. So that's why we have not done it.
So is it Chase that doesn't do sweeping?
That is correct.
And does Chase charge us do we have to pay Chase for anything?
Yeah, there's some.
What do we pay Chase? Like, do you know how much we pay Chase?
Oh, I don't have that off the top of my head, but yeah, there is money that we do have to pay our banks, yes, right.
So I just think that, again, it's true that if you have, you only have $250,000 of what in your bank account that is protected, right? It's
That is
guaranteed.
correct.
So I think we still have to talk about, at some point, maybe not today, but talk about what is that, the amount that they're charging us that we wouldn't make up by, like it seems like there's a risk, there's a lot of risk, custodial risk that we have by not having all of that money guaranteed. And the whole idea with sweeping accounts is that you might have hundreds of bank accounts with up to 250,000. And what I understand is that if you need that money for your cash flow, you can get it pretty fast.
You can, however, it is at a higher rate to get that money. For instance, we just needed to transfer $150,000 to payroll.
Mm-hmm.
That cost us nothing. We can do that in a matter of moments to be able to do that. However, sweeping accounts, it cost us an awful lot of money to be able to transfer that large amount of money to do it. And so we did not see it being a gain for us to actually sweep accounts. And then also too, we felt very comfortable with our meeting with Chase, although they don't do sweeping accounts, with the fact that if Chase goes down, there's a larger problem with our entire country than if Chase ever goes down.
That's true, but we've had some really large banks that have,
And I'm not right, and I'm speaking to Chase because that's who we think, and I understand. So yes, and if you actually look at the amount of interest that we've actually gained in the last 6 to 9 months, we've gained an enormous amount of interest.
right, but when, so that's my next question is, if you look at total cash and investments, we had $21.2 million. But of that, we only had 7.8 million invested. So we had 13.4 almost that is not invested. Is that, am I reading that correctly?
Which report are you reading right now? Because
So this is the cash and investment summary.
okay.
First page, if you look at the last
Yes,
column,
Yeah,
it says total cash and investments with $21.2 million.
right.
Okay, you go toward the middle of the last line in the middle of the page, it says total funds invested, 7.8 million. So what that tells me is we have 13.3 million that's not invested.
There are some monies, you're correct, that are not invested, and some monies are not investment because we have to leave some money on hand that we cannot invest all of our money. And a lot of those dollars are actually tax income. Until we actually settle, we can't invest tax money whatsoever.
Okay. So do we know
Because right now
how
we
much
currently-
that is?
Oh, I know currently we have over $4 million in that account.
4 million. So that would get us down to 9 million then. All right, but that's just something that I still think that we, it'd be nice to maybe have an analysis of why we can't do sweeping accounts versus, you know, like if we're not gaining as much interest on the sweeping accounts or whatever the cost is versus how much we're getting, how much interest we're earning, just to see the analysis.
Okay, have we received anything from our auditor to address that?
Yes, matter of fact, our auditor actually attended a meeting with both myself and Carolyn James, who reconciles our account, and we actually had a meeting with him. And that's when we came up with how much it would cost us if we actually swept and needed money. And just like I gave you guys the, for instance, and how much money we would lose by having to take some money out to actually, you know.
And it makes
that
sense,
transfer.
but I just wondered maybe if we have something in writing from him that might
Well,
be.
sure.
I would like to see how this whole conversation, because I know it keeps coming up, but I would love to put it.
Sure, I will ask him to actually put something in writing that when we have that meeting.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks.
Not a problem. Was there something else you wanted to discuss in the report?
That was it.
Did you want me to go into my report, or are we gonna just wait until we get that on the agenda? The fraud.
I think we're gonna,
Just wait.
I thought we were gonna wait till.
Okay, just wanted to be certain.
Okay.
So, you know, we, did a consent agenda. We have the sheriff's department here. And we put them a part of this consent, so they're not speaking. But yet, our Lieutenant Robinson would love to introduce someone to us today. So if we can interject and take care of that, please. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Katrina Robinson. I'm the acting lieutenant for the eastern operations of the county, which covers Superior, Ann Arbor, Salem, and York Township. I am soon to be retiring in about 90 days. So John Kratzenberg, who is currently a sergeant assigned to Ypsilanti Township, has been here for 17 years of experience coming in the door. Will be taking over operations for me beginning January 1st. So we'll have about a month of overlap, get him all trained up on what we do here in the township. Each township is very different for those 4 different townships. So just excited to announce my retirement officially. It seems kind of weird, you guys, like the first official public announcement I've made. But to be able to bring in somebody who I have absolute confidence is going to do very well here in the township. John's been around a long time. He is the commander of our hostage negotiations team here. Crisis negotiations team. He's got a lot of experience he's bringing in the door and a lot of respect. He runs our training program for road deputies, so it's a lot of experience coming in the door. You are going to see some transition in January as we start moving new folks in and out. We have a substantially overturned road patrol, so we have a lot of new faces coming in the door. There are 8 of us leaving between now and July. So a lot of our detective bureau, but that's room for a lot of growth for some of the new folks that have come in the door. So excited for this transition for me, and I think it's going to be a good transition for you folks as well.
What is your last name again, John?
Kratzenberg.
Kratzenberg.
Can you spell
Please.
Kratzenberg.
Welcome.
Have you been assigned to this substation in the
Please
past?
talk into that mic, Ken. Thank you.
Deputy, have you, or Sergeant, have you been assigned to this substation in the past?
About 17 years ago for about 3 months. And I've spent, since then, I've been in Ypsi Township the entire time. I've worked the east side of the county my entire career, other than, overtime and forces out west and like that, but.
He supervises the east side too, so when he's the sergeant here on nights, he'll be covering the whole east side of the county, so he's very familiar with the side of the county.
No Superior Township pretty well.
Yeah, he's been on a lot of our big calls.
I just don't live up here. Been around.
Thank you.
So we trust you will have a presence at our board meetings on a monthly basis or someone from your staff
Yes.
per your contract.
For our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That's all.
Everyone, we're good now?
There is a question for the sheriff's department when we're talking about the fraud.
Well,
When that- when that's-
I don't have an update on the fraud as of right now. I need to get that from Deputy Sirianni. So I don't have any current update. I can get that for you folks if you'd like.
I'm
Or
talking about,
Talking to you, Mike.
I'm talking about the check fraud.
is that the one over at the parks?
That was the one at the utilities, and that was being, there was a disposition that said that it was closed, but
That's reopened and we're working on that one right now. So that's with Mary, correct?
yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's back being active, yes.
Okay,
Sounds like there was a little bit of a communication issue between Mary and the deputy, so. I think initially they thought that she just wanted it just reported, which is an option for us to do, so. So we're back actively looking for information as to how that one occurred.
right. Okay, great.
Super.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah.
All right, so that takes us to bills for payment.
Are you on the bill service payment? Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Okay, so, going back to when we're talking about the fraud, I saw that TAS Network, they were, probably notified, there's a couple of payments to TAS, and it just says phishing. So what is TAS's involvement in that?
What number is it?
This is, 47181. That's the check number.
181.
It's a small amount, but I'm just wondering what TAS.
Phishing email.
Okay, so, that was my laptop, and I was using my laptop and it was taken over. So I shut it down, I called Dad, and said, hey, I was using my laptop and it was taken over, somebody was doing the cursor, and I had no control. So I took it up there and they said that it had gotten hacked, and then they, recommended destroying the, hard drive on it, and, basically just having it recycled.
Okay. So some of us did receive, I sent you a phishing email that I had. So I was wondering if TAS was working on some firewall or something that will prevent those.
I think that's on for later on, isn't it?
Is it, okay.
What, can I ask, was that through your, township computer?
No, I don't have, it was just through my iPad,
Okay.
yeah, anyway, any one that I used. So I saw a payment for Three Brothers Lawn Care for $13,300. And tonight I heard that they were doing some cleanup. That was half of the contract.
So Juan authorized that payment. And business ones. And they indicated that they remove.
So are they paying us back some?
Well, no, they've done $13,000 work.
Okay.
Question is, we're gonna have to talk to them about how much we're gonna give them this initiative off. And I would say we wait until we get the, email or the bid from Dan. And if it's like $2,000, we'll just knock $2,000 off. But we'll figure that out when it all comes together.
So you're saying they've done $13,000 worth of work out there?
Yes, and Juan was the one who was in control of that, and he's the one who authorized that payment. I did not.
So it sounds like there might be questions about that. So I think that we need to check them with Juan. Because if we just sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? We fronted the money to them to do some work, but they haven't completed all of that work, then we need to.
We didn't front the money, so they billed us, what was the date of it?
That was 10/31/23.
Yeah, so they had been working on it for about 6 weeks, off and on, very slowly. But they were the only company that gave us a bid on doing the grubbing.
Right,
So,
but if it's not done, Ken, we want
well,
to
it's
make
not
sure
that, it's been well over half. And Juan said that he had paid out.
Ken, it's not, well,
I wasn't even in town.
Okay, so I think that we just need to follow up with Ron and maybe.
It sounds like a blind follow-up and,
There's a few credits, that have been given to a couple of vendors. One was actually Fred, there's a $5,400 credit on a portion of his invoice. If you look at check number 47217 to Castleberry and Lucas, what is that credit, the 5,400? This
What's
is
the number again?
47217.
on 11/7/2023.
Is Keith on there, on that call?
Okay, well, that's something.
No, I'll tell you what it is. It was, they overbilled. And that's why the credit came back and then Nancy noticed it.
Okay.
It was by accident.
Okay, and then, there are a couple of credits to Morris Concrete Solutions, where I know that we all received an email about Morris, where they did duplicate billing. I'm wondering if we could just hear from, Irma about what the resolution has been.
So, it was in Gettys Ridge where, after I noticed another problem, I went back to Gettys Ridge and I noticed that some of the invoices that they sent had duplicate addresses. So I met with Nancy and they were getting ready to get paid. So we added it up and we got that from their payment that they were about to receive.
And are we doing anything with their contract?
I know that is going to be up to the board. All the contractors have 2 more weeks. We're ending it, December 1st. Currently, both contractors, one is in the Panama, vicinity and, Morris right now is doing, I think on Glendale. And it will be up to the board to review their contract in the springtime. But what I am doing because of it is every time I receive an invoice, I have a list of all the addresses and I went out and I counted, how many 4-inch flags, how many 6-inch flags should be done, and an estimate of whether there was roofs there. And I check after they've done the job for Precision and for Morris to make sure that it is exactly what I told them to do and the amount that they are charging us is correct. So we just have to do it.
So it's just something we'll need.
It's just extra work, but I'll make sure that, it eliminates some complaints.
Well, once that issue was raised, it raised a doubt, and so then Irma decided to check every single invoice.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's,
No,
that's
good.
good.
It should be good.
Yeah, it's oversight and accountability, and transparency. I think that's it. I have one minor one and I can just follow up with,
Okay, so that takes us, items removed from the consent agenda, the unfinished business, a GFL commitment to be labeled dumpsters.
We have the fire department.
Oh, we have the fire department, thank you very much.
sorry.
Thank you, Landis.
We have the fire, we have the fire department report.
Okay, so with the fire department report, there used to be an item called false alarms, and that I used to see it all the time. Now that nomenclature has changed, and I think it's changed, and it says, rather than false alarm, I'm seeing dispatched and canceled in a room. So I'm thinking that's, and I'm not sure if that is, but.
No, that's not, that's not.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any false alarms now, which just seems unusual because every month I've been seeing false alarms, unless I skipped over some.
And that's something I want you to share.
No, there's, Page one, yeah, fire incident type breakdown. Across the line, 700, goes 700, yeah.
Okay, I just skipped over them, but I was seeing a lot of these, fetched and canceled and route.
Dispatch and cancel the
I
route.
know what that means,
Yeah.
yeah. I just didn't see the, okay. Right, that was it.
Okay. That takes us down to, items moved to the consent agenda. A, GFL commitment to label dumpsters. Didn't talk with them, about that, and I apologize for not doing as on vacation for those 2 weeks.
The greatest man of them all.
Remind myself to do that. I see they have done a few, but not many. So we'll-
Where have they done some? I think people are subscribing, that's policy and.
No, I've seen it here and there, which might have been an old GFL container from the new GFL. But as far as the relabeling goes, I'll ask Sam, what is the.
Been a year, so.
Yeah.
Presentation of the National Football League.
New business authorized, Superior Resolution 73 authorizing the Charter Township Board of Trustees to distribute the Superior Township 2022 comprehensive master plan for all of the-
5 weeks and looking like Super Bowl contenders again.
Laura, I got a quick question on that. There's a period of time that the neighboring communities have, is it 60 days? Yeah, why don't you come up with it?
Evening, I'm Laura Bennett, Planning and Zoning Administrator. Just so the period of review is 63 days. Once the board releases it to the public, then we will send it out to all of the neighboring jurisdictions, and that will open the review period where people can make comments. Anything they see that they might want added, change.
So at the end of this 63-day period, the board will still have a public hearing regarding before we finalize it.
There will be another public hearing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have, motion support. All in favor of that resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 74, approve the Middle Huron Partnership Contract for 5 years.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, any questions on it?
Yes, the contract, the scope of services, Article 1 in the contract, refers to a statement of work, but I don't see that, I couldn't find the statement of work, so I don't know if that was just left out. In the contract.
What page?
This is page
Page
1.
one, Article 1.
Professional services contracts, Article 1.
Thank you. You're talking about under scope of service article.
And it wasn't included, and that's a concern, the middle Huron Partners work plan, we didn't receive a work plan.
Why don't we table it and ask them to make the work plan?
Okay, so.
All right, so we get a motion to table that to the December meeting.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. This is resolution approving the development agreement with Huron Dental Center PC. Laura, can you get up and just say a few words about this?
So Huron Dental has received their final site plan approval, and they've worked through their engineering comments with OHM, and OHM has found everything to be satisfactory. Part of their next steps are having the development agreement recorded, and then they can hold a pre-construction meeting. So the development agreement, it's pretty boilerplate for each development. We change certain things such as bond amounts, financial guarantees, construction escrows, but otherwise, times that they can do construction, that stays the same. We don't permit any construction on Sundays, things like that. So if anyone has any questions about it, I'm happy to answer.
So they have done quite a bit of construction.
So unfortunately, they did get a bit ahead of their skis. I did issue a stop work order at the site. They had mass cleared the entire site. Typically, no work is to be done prior to receiving a development agreement approval and a pre-construction meeting. So they are now aware of that. We're apologetic, and they know that they will not be continuing any work out there until I've received an escrow check, financial guarantee, and we have approved the development agreement and held the pre-construction meeting.
So Stava was in on Friday. Was that, what was she in for?
I believe she signed a easement agreement.
For
Okay. The easement for the path.
In front of her, the borough.
the property that we need to take, that is on her property. The route goes on her personal property, her real property for like 2,000 square feet. And so she gave us easement.
Isn't it across the street?
No, but don't we do, I thought we do stuff with easements, well, just like we did with the, that one residence on Plymouth Road where we had to purchase.
Well, she gave.
But don't we still have to accept it as a board?
As a board,
You know,
we like gifts.
Yeah, we are supposed to accept
That'd be good.
I mean,
I know, but it's,
Yeah.
we should do it in the proper way.
Yeah. And then, okay. So, we have motion and support for that?
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions on the development agreement for Huron Dental? Saying, you get a roll call.
Yes, we can. Havison, absent. Bentley, yes. Lewis,
Yeah.
Linky,
Yes.
McGill.
Yeah.
Seacrest,
Yeah.
Schwartz.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Okay, that takes us to resolution 76, which is the resolution to recommend speed bumps on Stevens Drive in Superior Township, directed to the Washtenaw County Road.
So moved,
Support.
and I have a comment.
You do.
There has now been two instances. One is a good friend of mine was on her way to my house. A car literally jumped out in front of her on Stevens Drive. And then I experienced almost an accident a couple of days ago, same instance. Something has to happen on Stevens Drive, and anything above and beyond, we will figure something out from the road commission is unacceptable, because someone is going to get hurt. We have kids that are walking around. We have hopefully our community center that's gonna be coming, so it's gonna be more of our neighbors walking on that road. And I am terrified after experiencing something personally and having another friend of mine just in the last 3 weeks, almost experienced an accident.
Well, you know, I think we all have been supportive of it and said that we need the system being supportive of it. But the road commission turned down the petition to the citizens.
But they're doing stuff over in Tanglewood and places like that. I'm very, that's,
They don't have anything in Tanglewood. I think Tanglewood is going to apply.
What I
And
meant
then the
was
next
that,
resolution is coming up, we're doing something for that as well. But the bottom line is, Ken, this is our township.
Yep.
And we need to help the road commission understand that this is our township.
I agree.
So we're gonna get the speed bumps sooner than later, because people's lives are, you know, they're at risk.
totally at risk.
I hear you, Yvonne,
Okay.
and I definitely this, and I hope that we might be.
so Brent is not there anymore? Is it Brent?
No, Cheryl.
Okay. So when we were talking, Tanglewood actually got some signs put up, and that they're an HOA, like speed limit signs or
They
something.
have speed limits.
So Washtenaw County Road Commission I don't know who put those up, but they,
Road commission.
so how did they get those up without, didn't seem like it was
I
much.
had a meeting, Tanglewood came here. Didn't they have,
So,
thank you,
Matt-
we had a meeting with the road commission.
Matt, last name, he requested a meeting with the road commission, and the road commission came here, but Matt went to the road commission. And he was complaining about the speeding through there, and they agreed to take a look at it, they put the speed limit sign in.
Can
25.
I interrupt you for a second? You talk into your mic. Some of the members of the audience are saying.
And I keep saying it, I know,
I know you do.
So anyways, road
You just
commission,
pull your mic up.
I pull it back.
the road commission agreed. Well, I didn't know they did, to tell you the truth.
I heard that, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but here's the thing, Ken, it looks like, again, it looks like if something needs to be done on north of Getty's, it happens pretty easily. Or something will happen that's sort of not standard, but they get what they want, but, we've been here, and I've been here on this board for 3 years. I've heard Jerry Clifton come and plead and beg.
Multiple residents.
Yes.
Stevens Drive.
Right, and it's, we've got to do something, it's just not fair, I mean, the equity, or that, it's not equitable.
I agree with that, and the road commission is the legal instrumentality for permitting that kind of activity, and hopefully this will get their attention. They have this themselves, the way they explained it to me, they have a point system based upon physical characteristics,
Right.
speed and all.
But Tanglewood didn't need any point situation to get speed limits signs, they didn't. It's just, so there's just visible things that happen, maybe because we, I didn't know that there was a meeting here with Tanglewood, so if there's a meeting here with Tanglewood, and maybe.
And the road commission.
Yeah, so that's.
Oh, so the road commission came here?
And with Tanglewood.
Okay, but I think we need, we need to have that same sort of communication or meetings with people from Stevens Drive and make sure that this happens.
Well, we've tried even before you were on the board many times to get the speed bumps in, hopefully we can.
So who called the meeting, that was here at the road commission in January?
A resident called me and said he would like to talk.
Okay, well, I'm a resident and I would like to have the road commission present for a meeting with Mr. Clifton, as well as I'm happy to rally as many residents as we can. But we need to have this conversation with the road commission sooner rather than later. This cannot wait. It's dangerous.
Well, I'll invite them for the December meeting. But I can't make them come, but I imagine they will come.
Well, they should come for Stevens Drive.
We can put a letter in there.
Well, hopefully they will do something with this one. Let's hope that they do.
Yeah. Let's see what they do.
I'll take the-
Very
Any more questions? None. All in favor of approving the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So send that out. Resolution.
You're gonna send it to them?
I'll send him a letter with.
Okay.
You served
Oh,
us.
yeah.
Okay. I'll send it out. Resolution 77, this is the resolution to approve the utility director and superintendent recommendation to increase the wages for field service tech 2 position.
So moved.
Support.
Congratulations, this is July, we done it.
Yeah, let's do it. It's been here, yeah.
There are 29
Clear.
to 34.50.
So I can clarify it for you, it's not exactly, so, each one of those people actually earn a different amount. So for Alan, the increase is 13.7%. For Foster, the increase is 14.1%. And for Millet, because he was the lowest paid, he's the only one that is up by 17.9%. These guys haven't had a raise like this in about 10 years. And Marianne, I don't know if were you able to figure out the total amount that the budget would have to be increased in 2023?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, that's right. But anyway, you know, this is an enterprise fund, that means it's a business fund.
Yes.
And it's, they're not taking any money from the general fund, they're paying out of their own budget, so, I'm excited.
I'm thrilled. I'm excited as well. Like I said, started this process in July.
Let's do this.
So we're ready to vote?
Let's go.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Do we have to do it, if it was money?
Yes.
We have,
Yeah,
Let's go.
All right, we should.
money, money, money. Havison absent, Finley, yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Linky?
yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Cephas? Schwartz? Schwartz?
No.
It carries.
All right, so we'll move on to the next,
You're welcome.
is, resolution 2378. I asked the board if we could defer that to the end. Could we defer that to
No, there's no need to defer it to the end.
Okay.
You and I talked and you said that you were gonna try to get him a position over in Spark. So,
let's just go over what happened. And I can explain to Beth that I can explain because this all happened last week on Friday at night. Friday night, I got an email from Rebecca Johnson.
Can we back up though? Because things happened way before Friday night.
That's the first time I heard.
Okay. So as you all know, well, you starting with Friday
Before we
night.
go into this,
What about,
Well,
we're on John Park and there shouldn't be an ass on there.
so last month, we approved John Park to be a developer. And, apparently, and Lynette, myself, John, and had a meeting, on the phone with the lead for America. And I thought it was pretty understandable that we agreed that Lynette was going to be the person who was kind of in charge of this, he says, to the people. Well, found out Friday night that I got an email from a Rebecca Johnson who said that she was surprised to see this on the agenda that night. And I said, well, you know, to be honest with you, Rebecca, I haven't looked at that part of the agenda yet, so let me deal with it and I'll call you tomorrow. So I talked to Rebecca on Saturday along with John, and John's preference was to have me as the supervisor of him. And I had told John that, you know, when we were all sitting there together, that Lynette would be the supervisor. And I told John, you know, that's what the contract was going to say. Well, apparently they never sent that. They said they were going to send the contract to Lynette the next day or two, back in October, right?
Well, there's a reason, that's why I wanted to backtrack, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just wanted to backtrack, because you're starting with Friday. While you were away on vacation, and after we had that first meeting with John Slockin. Not John, Eric. And we met with John in that meeting. We all had the understanding that he would report to me, and there wasn't any issue. Eric sent me the application to fill out. I filled out the application immediately. They got back to me the next day and said, oh, you'd be a great supervisor. This information is very good. So when you went away on vacation, John was supposed to come in and report that following Monday. And John just emailed me that Monday and said he had COVID. I never heard from John for 2 weeks. And during that time, John was attending his orientation, which was 2 hours with Lead for America. But he did not show up, you know, in the office. Um, also during that time, we got an email, I got an email from Eric who stated to me that, oh, we're gonna hold off on this meeting until Ken Schwartz gets back. And I questioned him, I said, why are we doing that? In the minutes, it says clearly that I am his supervisor. But they were gonna hold off, because they had been in contact to hold off for the meeting until Ken got back on vacation. I could not be done October 2nd, I think that was. And I asked I asked Eric to hold on everything. And that I would take this back to the board, which I am doing today. So during that entire time, I had no communication from the young man who was supposed to come and work in the office. And I do believe that there was intervention with Lead for America, where John wants to report to Ken. I have no idea, Ken, as much as I hate to say this, and I must say this for the public record, because it bothers me, and I swear, I pray you didn't go back and tell this young man this, but you've made derogatory, I'm very careful with what I say. You have made comments in reference to demeaning comments about my character, that I hate Mexicans and I have mocked Asians. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, I hope you did not go back and say something like that to that young man.
Of course, I would never.
Okay, I'm just saying that, Cam, because it's very important for me to say that. Because none of that has ever occurred, and I'm just concerned about why that young man feels that I'm not an appropriate person to report to. And I think that there's a lot of conversation that has gone.
So what's the disposition? Is he going to?
That's
Well, what he's saying, he sent me an email suggesting that, because, if you look at us now, and, if you want to make some comments in reference. I am talking to the mic.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fred. And can you just put that microphone in there, because it's recorded, will extend, just put it on.
I can.
Yes.
So when I saw that it was on the agenda, I called Lynette on Friday and I said, why are we doing this? Why are we having to reconfirm you as supervisor? And it was apparent something happened. I asked Lynette if I said, you were supposed to send us some information about John from the minutes. It said that you were going to send us Mr. Park's email to the board, and if there was any additional questions we could ask him. So we didn't get anything. So I asked Lynette, I said, when I was the VP at Eastern over enrollment, we were over AmeriCorps and Lead for America. And I said, I'd like to call just to see what they're doing with them. And I called them and I said, and this is what I said. I said, I know that you have a student that wants to come to Superior Township. And I said, I want to talk to you with my higher ed hat on. I wouldn't send any student to Superior Township to work as an intern or a fellow based on the stuff that's going on here. The environment is too chaotic and toxic. I said, all you have to do is read our minutes, and this isn't the place for an intern to learn leadership skills. I'm very serious about that. And I felt really bad for John to come into a situation like this, and I can't in good conscience have him report to anybody here. I think it would just be crazy. Well, it's not a dilemma for me. I wanted to just say, let's find him a solid nonprofit or governmental experience that he can learn what it is to be a leader or a politician in the best sense of the word. He's a student. he needs a good student experience. This is good money, you know, like, you can get he seems like a sharp young man. I would feel much better just saying, finding something good for him.
And I agree, and you sent an email, which I totally agree with, that we should proceed in that direction. I even talked to Greg Dill Friday night, and you had come to us and made a comment that the county, did not, it's in our minutes, that the county did not, have funds or whatever to, and that you talked to the county about it and they couldn't do it. And, Greg, county parks, okay, they're not correct. Well, the county, who parks report in that area, they're willing to look at that. So there are different options out there. You made a comment with going to Spark, that'd be a great opportunity. I think that we should just consider he goes to another location and not have anything to do with the township.
I wasn't at the last meeting when he got approved, but I thought, I wasn't sure what was he doing for the township.
Well, part of it is that you had to kind of set up a little bit of a curriculum. And honestly, that's why I thought Lynette would be the best. And honestly, you were there.
Which I did, and they got back to me and said the curriculum was fine.
And we all, I think, understood at that moment that you were going to be the supervisor for a lot of the technical issues and the paper.
No, I wasn't, you're saying that, but let's just,
I understand.
that's because Ken, I don't want to go back and forth. What you're saying is totally
So
not
at
the
this
case.
point,
What we need to do is just,
is he not gonna work for the township or not?
no,
No, okay.
I'm making that suggestion, recommendation that we look that he does not, in the employment.
Okay.
And then we assist, and they're asking some assistance. I'm not sure if he's willing to take that. Even Greg, Dill was interested in looking at him at the county level.
He's a bright kid. I would
Yeah,
like
he
to
is.
see him make something where he can really gain leadership skills as well as the governmental structure skills. That I would agree with Bernice. I just don't know that he's gonna be able to get that here.
So I make that motion that we, do not consider him as a hire for Lead for America, for our township at this present time.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You disagree?
No, you disagree with?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's John.
I went on vacation, I came back, I didn't hear anything until last Friday about any of this, and then I was taken aback by the whole thing, quite honestly.
I'll call to Rebecca. You may after you talk to Rebecca. Okay.
Yeah, and today, that's the only time, I didn't even know she.
Okay. So we've got that second.
Thank you, G.
Okay, so, resolution, discuss identifying fraudulent financial transaction.
Okay. This doesn't have a plural on it, but I don't know if you want me to discuss both of them or not.
This is not.
Is this a yes? Okay, so
You said resolution.
I said discuss.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda.
need to continue. I would like to begin with the most recent one. It happened, as we were in the throes of tax collection. I received an email, and the email read as I thought it came from the clerk. I don't have to open up my emails fully to be able to read what an email says. And I responded to the email because I needed some additional information, asking who would it be payable to, what was it for? I would need, specific information. And there was probably about an hour that went by, that information was sent to me. I said, I'll have to go to the bank and I'll have to take care of some things when I came back from the bank. Went for processing more taxes and so on and so forth. Anyway, the ACH payment was sent. And I will say that the way that I heard, it didn't occur that way. The first person who was aware of the fact that this was a fraudulent payment was actually Carolyn James, who works in the treasurer's department, and she reconciles the account. She went to Nancy. Nancy then went to the clerk, and that's how everything unfolded. And then, so at that point, I immediately contacted the bank, and I contacted the sheriff department, talked to the IT, talked to our controller, talked to our auditor. So that's the unfold of that. So I just want to know if, and then there was some concern as to why there was not a conversation between myself and the clerk. Well, there was some contention in having a conversation with the clerk about finances. The last time the clerk came to the treasurer's department and wanted to get monies to purchase something, we have a process that if one wants to use a credit card, they have to sign it out. The clerk was asked, what was it for? The response, I'm an elected official, I do not have to state what it's for. At that point in time, my deputy says, well, what do? I said, well, just go ahead and give her the card. And as a matter of fact, in the meantime, the clerk's response to the deputy was, give me the damn card. So to avoid any potential negative interaction, there was no conversation with the treasurer's office to the clerk's office about this potential ACH statement. That is my deputy, yes. And at this point in time, there has been a claim that has been filed under our cyber protection clause, and it is pending. So we have done everything that we needed to do to try to get that money back.
So Lisa.
Yes.
May I correct some things though, please? Okay. Lisa, I would never curse to your deputy. And you came in with a new policy, okay? And with that policy, you wanted, the credit cards. Now, I could come to this board and ask for my own credit card, choose not to do that. I have to go and I have to, put development agreements in, whatever the case may be. But to make a long story very, very short, no, I did not feel that I need to sign the credit card out. And I'm trying to figure out how to get on the credit card anyway, but that's okay if you want to say all that. I want to correct a couple of dates. You stated that you didn't know anything until Nancy came to me. You basically knew like a couple of weeks prior to that when I sent you an email, but I think you have still email. I don't know what you did with it.
I would say the email you sent us, we could not open it, nor could anything be read on that email, so we were not familiar with what was
I
in that
sent
email.
you an email, Lisa, saying, I have no idea what this says.
And what that was, there was nothing attached to, so we had no clue as to what you sent.
My verbal language was, Lisa, I never received this email from you. It's not about the attachment at this point in time. It's about that transaction.
Okay, Lynette, and again, in order to avoid
trying to figure out how
interaction with you in your office, we didn't want to have a conversation with you because again, when I came into this position, there was a policy that was already created that the credit card would be signed out to anyone who came to the treasurer's office who was wanting to purchase anything.
You told me that was yours, but I'm trying to figure out how we're getting on.
May I please finish? May I please finish?
Sure.
Please, thank you. Is there any question about this ACH debit? Because I don't want to keep going back and forth. Yes, please.
It's not really about that. It's about both transactions.
Okay.
There should be a written policy and procedure, a step-by-step procedure when you're trying to pay a bill. So there must be something, hopefully, that you can look at where an invoice comes in, who gets that invoice, who checks to see that that invoice amount is correct. If it's a contract, are they looking at a contract? Then are they giving, if they sign off on the invoice, it goes to Nancy, I'm assuming. Nancy generates a trap, then, okay.
Not for an ACH debt, it does not.
But the ACH has to have a similar process where you have a wet signature on it, okay? Where either, like if you're doing an ACH, I just went through that financial report. If you're doing an ACH, you have to have a very similar procedure where like if someone is asking, or saying to you, if it's even Lynette, they're sending you an email, she still has to, I would make sure that you get a wet signature saying that she approves that, ACH. Sort of like, remember when we did that with the fire department, when they were buying that?
After
Same way.
speaking to our auditor, he did suggest that we come up with some guidelines. There were no guidelines that we could actually find that spells it out in that
You need-
manner. And
so it's a
so Chris
procedure.
and I did, come up with some guidelines.
Right.
And he said that he would actually review them and make some suggestions as to what those guidelines would be going.
And then when there is fraud, when you know that there's fraud, you need to do a whole other procedure where, you have to notify the auditor, right? Who do you notify right away, right?
Exactly.
So because each one of us is a fiduciary, I don't care what your title is, when you're in this boardroom, each one of us is a fiduciary, and that's why I was like, okay, wait, who knew about this? Did anybody try to help out here? And when the board wasn't informed for like, I don't know if it was, in one hand it's 4 months, and another it's 6 months, we've got to be informed right away when there's fraud. Because it's the public's money. And so that's all I want to see. I want to make sure that we have procedures in place, step 1, step 2, step 3.
We will have those for you.
Yeah, thank you.
At the next, and not a problem. And with respect to what happened with the utility department, the check was, we've concluded, myself and Keith concluded that the check was stolen out of our own mailbox. And so now their checks do not get put in those mailboxes anymore. Nancy actually drops them off at another mailbox. I believe, and Mary can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that check was washed. There is certainly an she's still here. There is an uptick, I do believe, in washing checks, and that's neither here nor there, but I believe that one was washed. There was another amount written in on that check. However, we were initially told that there was some procedure that could have been on our account at the time, but we did not have that. And we were initially told that we were not going to get reimbursed for those funds. So 6 months later, after lots of investigation, and again, Mary, if I'm saying anything incorrectly, please chime in. And lots of going back and forth with the bank, we then heard, I think last month, I believe it was, that we were going to get fully reimbursed for that money, for those monies, for the
Makes sense, right?
for the 21,000. No, I'm sorry, for the $12,000. I'm giving a total.
And that makes sense. And so that was with the positive pays.
That, yeah, we have positive pay, but there was still another feature that could have been added and it was not on. And so once they told us what that feature is, then we added that feature on after we spoke to them.
And that's Chase, and that's
That, yes, exactly.
Well, Chase could lose a lot of money from us if we took our money out.
And I think that they are very much aware of that. You're very welcome.
Okay, are we done with that item?
Well, so how does money get charged? The 85, the ACH, that's a wire transfer, we won't get that back. So where does the charge get posted?
Well, what happens is that they look for the bank because it was sent to a Wells Fargo bank. And so there was a police report made, and so there's an investigation that gets done, but we've also made a claim through our insurance with that.
Right. So the insurance might reimburse us?
Correct.
8,500, because the bank, that's out in law.
$8,850, correct.
But still, so if the bank reimburses us, obviously, then there's no, that'll get back into the bank account, the cash flow.
Yes,
But
it'll go back.
if they don't, where does that charge, what account do we charge that 8,500 to? Because if it was gonna be charged to.
It's been, well, currently it came out of the general account funds.
But
It
what
will go
line
back
item?
into the general account fund.
Right, what line item do you charge it?
That, now, well, it would have been to the clerk's department. Because the email was originally from if your question that you're asking me, I'm answering your question, it would have come from out of the clerk's department. Because that's where.
But now that we know that it was
fraudulent.
it would
So
come somewhere else. It's gonna be charged somewhere else, I'm sure. It can't be charged to the clerks.
It's, okay, maybe I'm not understanding your question. It would just come out of the general account, and you said the line item, so I was trying to answer your question. So right now, it's just a general account, but that's where the money would go back into the general account. Did that answer your question? Because I think
No,
maybe
I think I'm not, you know what, it has to be charged against a line item. Like, for
Okay,
instance,
well,
if
that I
it was
don't know.
postage or what, you know,
Right.
like a lost line item, there must be.
Oh, yeah, it would
some
be
charge.
fraudulent. Yeah.
Right, but there has to be a line item that you actually charge that against.
Well, we can ask them, Polka, you know,
Right.
Kim Polka will have the answer to that.
All right.
Okay, are we done with that?
Mhm.
Next one is, discuss laptop purchases and return of laptops. It's you.
Yes. We need some type of policy as it relates to laptops. You know, I was signing, Amazon, where we get our laptops. And I recognize that you had just got a laptop the previous year. I know I've had mine and it's been working just fine for 4 or 5 years now. In my personal laptop, not the townships. So I'm questioning the purchase of laptops, and I know we never received back the laptop from a previous official. So we need to figure out what's going on with these laptops, and we need you to return the other laptop that you sent. Please. That's okay, just as long as we have it, because they need to be returned and,
Are these township?
township
Laptops,
laptops.
those are just always be signed out,
Absolutely.
checked out and returned because they need to
Absolutely.
be properly.
But we still have one that's not returned, but,
I don't know what that is, but someone should be in charge of that.
yeah. That's why I have it on the agenda.
It should be, it should definitely, we should have a process in place. This is, in this day and age with cybercrime, anything that has our township's business on it should be properly returned. It should be properly checked out to know who's been checked out. All of those serial numbers and all that stuff should be recorded with our IT.
And labeled.
And labeled
It has
appropriately.
been in this case, that's why I sent it up to tax. Net.
So, yeah, that's,
So I sent it to Taz and they said, you need a new computer, don't hook that thing up to the internet.
When was that?
I told
when he had that issue
her.
with his
It happened
business.
like a month.
From the,
Just before I went on vacation, I got
Yeah.
fishing,
well,
somebody got.
yeah, no, and that's all the point, when important, if that's the computer that was problem, it should be in possession of task to be.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, I took it up there, and I want to make sure that no files were corrupted or they didn't get anything from us, and they did not.
And they have it now,
No, they gave it back.
they should have.
Hmm?
They should have. There are computer IT people
Yeah, but for archiving and what you talking?
to clean it.
Well, see, the mouse didn't work on it, screen had fallen apart. That was the cheapest. How much did we pay
No,
for
but
that?
here's the point. The point is, you have a computer that has been hacked. The hack is still real until the computer is cleaned.
That's not what I was told, okay? I was told, I was told by Taz, do not use this computer. Do not try to get on the internet.
Just because you turn a computer off does not mean that it is not hacked. If they said it was hacked, the computer
I
is
said it
hacked.
was hacked. They said, and they never used the word hack. When I saw the cursor moving around, I took it up and I said, something's wrong here. And if you want to find out, you can call Taz and ask them what they found. Discover.
Well, my concern is just that we return the computers and check them out.
Okay. So that takes us to motion to review and approve amendment to resolution 2272 gas firewall and switches.
Yeah, it really should technically be under the amendments, but it's not there. 72, and we'll leave in that number. What you didn't explain when you brought this to the table last time, Ken, is that we approved the first where the the whereas where we have the quotes for the amount of money that they were gonna charge us. What you didn't share with us is the amended part. The monthly charges are as follows. So they want to charge us those monthly charges along with what we already said we have approved.
Well, I don't recall that at all being informed about any month.
Where it was in there,
Is that the invoice to you to put on the agenda?
when you discussed and when we talked about this and when you sent me the email, I'm just saying this wasn't just the monthly charges. So I think there are lots of concerns with tasks and we need to, you did say that you said,
I thought we were putting out bids for.
yeah, that's what, I didn't know this.
Ken, I
My,
sent
my,
you,
my,
I sent you 4 examples of RFPs for IT services.
Right?
Like you asked me to do that.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to get a proposal or an RFP out for bid for IT services.
and I have one other one that I, visited when Lance and I attended the clerks conference. That they service, like over 150 or more than that townships.
Well, we put an RFP together and put it on it. My deal is just.
But we need to approve this part until then,
Right.
the amended, version of resolution number 2372.
Are we approving this with or without the monthly charges?
The monthly charges are in there, corrected monthly charges, so you have you're correct, you're approving the entire amount. But we already approved the monthly charges at our last meeting.
Huh?
You weren't there.
Yeah.
What we did, this came to the table last month, and the monthly charges were approved by the board. What wasn't approved are the township charges, the amount that they were gonna charge us per, area. What was not approved were the monthly charges.
That's what I thought you
Yeah,
said. Okay,
I did, yeah.
okay, thank you.
Can I make a comment regarding this whole quote from
You probably well, technically,
Well, thinking.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mary.
utilities has a,
they have lots of issues. I thought Mary's gonna mention that in public comment on communications.
Thank you. Regarding this, the switches that the township was given a quote for, utility department, our switches have failed. And we have been down 4 days. We were just put back up today with a borrowed switch from Taz at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we were down all day, Friday afternoon, beginning at about, just before noon, all the way till today, 3 o'clock. And then we were down on last week, Monday and Tuesday, both days. Our switch does not work at all. So, I was told that the quote, they were waiting and they would not replace it. And so we have been completely unable to function, because of this ordeal. And I just wanted to kind of just mention this to the board that, this whole process of getting this approved, it is, we didn't know our switch was going to fail. But there has to be something where this can be moved through quicker because of what's going on with utilities, and we have emergencies. When the switch fails, our phones are down and our computers are completely down. We can't service any of our customers. We can't communicate in any shape or form. So I just wanted to make you aware. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I never want to request an invoice. I just forwarded Lynette.
No, your presentation. No, all of this was not included, and you did not share these comments about the monthly charges in your remarks when you gave them.
Well,
okay.
So
anyway,
must have been in. What sort of request?
we address raise.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, we're not, yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Okay,
The jump will be, done.
but I'm just saying, if she comes up with any kind of an emergency, we do have a purchasing policy where if there's an emergency, she should be able to.
Absolutely.
Get it done
Right.
pronto. She shouldn't have to wait for
No,
us.
she shouldn't. So I wasn't aware until I talked to Mary today that they were down.
And I didn't find out, so I think Saturday when I talked to Juan.
That they were down before.
They were 4 days.
Mhm.
Contacted about that. Yes, they can be,
Yeah.
it can be for emergency like that, they just call it out, get fixed. Okay, so we got a motion and support. We need a motion and support.
We need a motion. We need a motion for the
Some
support. McGill,
yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Evanston absent, Fenway, yes, Lewis,
Yes.
Blinky,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right, that takes us to motion to reappoint some farm member of the zoning board of appeals for an additional 3-year term.
So moved. Support.
Any questions on that? Sounds good, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to accept bid for duct cleaning from Amity.
So moved. Stop cleaning first before Chloe.
For the office.
She's covering up.
Bill said they haven't ever been cleaned as far as he knows.
It feels like it.
All right, so we got a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Hear that? Motion to update the fee structure for false alarms.
Which one are you on?
So,
Yeah.
Support. Yeah.
I didn't miss
No, you didn't. We love it.
one. So we got a motion.
You're welcome.
This is going $40 a month.
It's going up $15 a month. It all depends on what the initial charge is. If it was initially 25, it will go to 40. If it was initially 35, it will go up to 50. So it's going up by $15.
nice.
Okay. We got motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Been a long time coming.
Hear that? Motion to designate funds for the, Fireman's Park, part of the park reserve. Why do you state that? For us?
Okay. A motion to use the Gettys Park funds in the amount of $200,000 to cover the Gettys Park or Gettys Road pathway, thereby freeing the amount when you fix my motion. Can I just make a motion? Okay. So I move that we use the Gettys Park reserve funds in the amount of $200,000 to cover the Gettys Road pathway, thereby freeing the amount we needed to cover the 2024 general budget.
Okay, so what, I've never heard of the Gettys Park.
It's the Gettys Park. I think isn't it the Gettys Park Reserve, the Hyundai, what is called the Gettys Park Reserve, or the Gettys Road
Well,
Reserve?
all right, so I've done a little research on that, and I have just gotten the last document today. I'm not sure whose money that is. I cannot find anything on special.
It's our money.
It is.
Yes, it's our money.
He's actually researched it with Ken Falcott and found that we could do this.
Yes.
I mean, I have a road improvement agreement I just got today that says the agreement was really between us, the township, and the road commission, and that Hyundai was to pay, but, you know, it doesn't really kind of make sense. I can't find where we actually had for reading or DA for a special assessment. That's all I'm saying.
This was
Brenda always told me that this was a special assessment.
oh, I don't.
And so I believe that, assuming that was
Okay, let me
true.
see it.
way back when. But I've been trying to find.
We had this discussion at our last meeting when we did this, where Keith did get us all the paperwork and all the information where we can vote on this today.
We cannot?
We can.
Okay, so,
What I'm saying is, I don't know whose money that is in that account.
it's our money.
It's our money.
It says, right. And Paul did remember the money was paid by Hyundai to be used for road maintenance in the area of the building. So it was decided to designate the dollars for the roads, but we could
Talking
change.
to the mic,
I'm
please.
sorry, he said that we.
Put your mic up, please. This one.
Sorry, right? But anyway, that both Ken Polka and Keith taught and agreed that that money could be used for the Getty's Road pathway. So we had $200,000 budgeted for the Getty's Road pathway. And all I'm saying is just take $200,000 out of the reserve funds to cover that, rather than taking that 200,000 out of the general fund.
That's a variance with what the development agreement says. That's what I'm talking. Development agreement does not say, it says there were 66,000 for the Getty Road path, and I was assuming that was the walking path that they're talking. I was always under the impression, because this is what Brenda told me, that there was a special assessment that they were levying.
That was changed. Remember, Ken Polka had us change that up.
No, we just changed the account number. We can't change the special assessment. I don't think there was a special assessment. I don't know if there was.
You just said there was. Okay, so how about we did have research done. We do have the money.
Where's the research? I mean, I was researching this, and I have some of the documentation in my office right now that is at variance with what you are saying.
Okay,
That's
so
township documents.
so we won't do this today. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
keep
I
this
think
up.
Fred should take a look at it.
I think that
Fred,
it's
Finance.
yeah, I think Ken Polka and Keith can get us the documents.
Which we already have.
Well, let's just bring them and share them with
Well, we
everybody.
should have, if it's special assessment, we should have a special assessment role that we use to collect. If there's not a special assessment, which now I'm questioning whether there was, then there was a road improvement agreement that would lay it out. Now, I don't know where that 180.
I thought it was what was left over, and when I first came on board, what I was told it was that it was money left over in their escrow account that they decided to let us keep.
That's not true.
Okay, but that's what I was told. So we'll just get the research and bring it back.
So I want to table it to the next week.
Yes.
All in favor of tabling this to the next week, say aye.
Aye.
No.
This is motion to deny, rezoning of Plymouth and Arbor and Napier roads. You want to take the floor for a second, Laura?
The planning commission met in October for a public hearing on a proposed rezoning for a parcel of land very northeast corner of the township at the intersection of Plymouth and Napier Roads. The gentleman, Justin Pinkston, he came to discuss it with us, proposed a self-storage facility on half of the parcel, half of the 25 acres, with the other half being donated to Parks and Rec. The planning commission held their public hearing. We had a number of residents come out and speak in opposition of the self-storage. And ultimately, the planning commission recommended denial 6-1. And I can answer any questions you have about the planner's report or the meeting.
So what are we going to refer this as? Is there a rezoning number? Like rezoning number 23 dash something?
Oh, I see. I think it's referenced in the planner's report. And Carla's report, there should be.
Just so that we get a motion.
Sure. The first page.
I think they have it just,
Alright, which is good.
What if we 23-6? Yeah, but you'll check, and if there's a change, you'll notify the board. So we need at this point, a motion for denial of rezoning, for a conditional rezoning from R1 to C2, which has been identified for our records as rezoning 23-6.
Support.
Okay, so any questions on this? All right, roll call.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Edison, absent,
Denied.
Finley, yes. Lewis.
Yes.
Linky.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Seacrest. Unanimous.
So this is, the next one is motion to approve payment of contracted services from Benjamin McKinney Farm. Item P.
So moved. Billy must talk into the.
Talk louder. I can't even hear you. I think you had to turn it on.
Support.
Okay, so we have motion and support. Any questions on it?
Mhm.
Roll call.
Edison, absent, Finley, yes. Lewis.
Yes.
Linky.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Seacrest.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Unanimous.
The next is motion to approve planning commission recommendation that speed study in Dixboro Village area along Plymouth and Arbor Road between Dixboro and Ford. Can I get motion and support? Support.
So moved.
All right, so moved by Lewis and supported by. Laura, do you want to address this at all?
Yeah. At October's meeting, Commissioner Davish noted that there has been an uptick in pedestrian in the Dixboro area, specifically between Ford Road and Dixboro. Well, on Plymouth Road. And she would like to see the Michigan State Police, in coordination with the Washington County Road Commission, conduct a speed study. She feels that the speed of the vehicular traffic has lowered enough that it could potentially reduce the speed limit, the current posted speed limit in Dixboro. The planning commission discussed, and it was unanimous to recommend it be passed along to the board for the board's support.
Yeah, I support this totally. The question may be is we might get charged for the speed study. I'm not sure at this point because we've never asked this before. So the road commission doesn't usually do anything for free. So if they are going to conduct a speed study, they might say, fine, we'll do it, but it's going to be $1,000 or whatever. So should we get a, how do you want to do it?
I would actually only do it if we do Stevens Drive first. Period. I can't, and I said, in good conscience, again, Stevens Drive has been a road, has been coming up so many times. And if we're gonna pay, I would not pay for Plymouth Road unless we do Stevens Drive first. That's that would be the priority.
That's fine with me. You know, when Stevens came up, we offered to pay for the entire process to the road commission, and they still said.
So who can we then speak to? If they say no, then how can we override them saying no and have it done anyway, especially if we're paying for it?
You talking about on the speed study or on?
Speed study for Stevens Drive. If they say no, and we say we're gonna pay for it, then how do we get it done?
You've done speed studies.
We don't need to, okay, I'm sorry, well, what did they say no to?
Bumps.
Speed bumps. Okay, so how could we get it done if the road commission chooses not to do it?
That is what we're trying to persuade them by that resolution. that
You
they
can't go to the state?
There's not an appeal from that, except probably to circuit court on that, to say that their standards are arbitrary, reasonable. But like I said, they have a new manager now who may take a look at their standards and may reevaluate those to be more positive about Stevens.
You know, I sent to everybody an MLive article on how Ann Arbor just was easy, it was really easy to get speed bumps on a couple roads, and I just question whether they have in their factoring system, sometimes they have some other, like does the board or the political entity, the political organization want something? And we do very badly.
Are you talking about Ann Arbor City?
I'm talking about the city
Yeah, well, Ann Arbor City is not under the jurisdiction
of Washington County.
of the road.
No, but Hennessy Township is, and they got.
Yeah, Ipsy Township has them all
So
over.
we're off of that now. Where are we? We ready?
So where are we at on this? Why don't I at least inquire? And
I'd
ask
like
them-
to table it. I would table it until we figure out what we're doing with Stevens Drive first.
That sounds.
Support.
That's fine. All in favor of tabling it to December meeting? Say
Or
aye.
whatever.
It may not be there, so.
Right, because if we don't hear anything about Stevens Drive by December, can we table it until we do hear something?
Yes, we can.
Till we hear from the road. Whether it's January or February?
Yes.
You could table it to the meeting after we hear a decision.
Correct, yes, I'm working.
The other thing is that, again, if Tanglewood and the Road Commission staff came here before our meeting, I wouldn't feel bad if you guys, if the officials met with the Road Commission before our next meeting about Stevens Drive.
That's
I mean, that would be-
we can invite them in. I think, Matt, like, give you some of that.
I'd like to hear when the meeting is. I'd love to just sit there and listen.
You can all be invited.
Okay.
I don't think that'd be a problem at all. Okay, so that's going to be tabled then. We have a motion to approve the final balance and change order for ASI contract on the Harris Road widening project. George, this is yours.
Good evening, everyone. So this change order is a balancing change order, which typically is the final step of closing a construction contract. So to explain the process briefly, what we do is we go through every work item that was in the contract. In this contract, there's over 50 separate work items. When the project is bid, there's an estimated quantity typically for each work item. And at the end of the project, we reconcile each item, basically balancing the contract, sometimes below or above the contract amount. In this case, the contract is approximately $9,000 over the estimated contract amount, which was approximately $690,000. So what we need to do is amend the contract so that we can recommend the final payment to ASI and close the project. So I wanted the board to get the change order so we can amend the contract value, and then we should be able to make the final payment to them soon afterwards.
And what's the amount?
Of the change order?
$9,548.73.
Correct, $9,548.73.
And that closes out with ASI on all the projects.
Correct, everything to do with the widening, including, we had added all the MacArthur crosswalk work. That took the contract to $609,000, and now it will amend to $618, $952.
This isn't money that we have to pay. This is the public library, right?
Yeah, this will be included in the amount that they owe us. And if the county is willing to match, and, then we can have some, if they're not willing to match, then this is.
Then what?
If the county says we're not going to match anything, then the library will have to repay us for all of our expenses.
Right, okay.
Except for the few expenses we don't get. That's right. Okay, so can I get a motion on the table for this?
So much support.
Any more questions? Will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Galveston, absent. Lewis,
Yes.
Bentley, yes. Linky,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
unanimous.
Okay, then the last item is the authorize revised special assessments of business securities.
Yes, and if there's a question, the reason that this one is revised from the one being in the packet is because there was a parcel that for whatever reason, it would not, export into the system, so when we don't balance, we have to take it out. So it had to be taken out, so after the report had been sent to the clerk's office for the board package, we had to take it out, so it's like $69.39 difference or something to that effect.
Between this and the
Between
one
the- Well, it wasn't, yes, exactly, or just the change from the one that's in your board package to the one that you received in your text this evening.
Can you get a motion to authorize the additional money funds to the winter cash roll to collect these outstanding costs? So
Support. Do the amounts, Lisa, do they get added to the 23 budget, the revenue from these special assessments?
To the 23 budget?
Yeah, or to 24, the revenue.
Oh, the revenue 2023, yeah, this is all for 2023, we haven't done anything with 2024. Yes.
Supervisor, before you go to the next item,
Yeah. Roll call.
I'm going to take this question. Schwartz,
yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Linky,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Galveston, absent. Bentley, yes.
He wants to.
Yes, we need to approve the closed session meeting. We didn't do that. Have to come out of closed session. Thank you, Ellen. We have to approve the minutes. We didn't approve the minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Let's identify what we're approving the closed session minutes from
Over 16.
16, 20. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we go to pleas and petitions, if anybody, yes, TC.
And again, thank you for this time. I'm going to take off my farmer hat and I'm going to put on my sustainability hat. I am one of sustainability commissioners for the city of Ypsilanti. Several years ago, there was a concern in a high area, downtown Ypsilanti. It's called Washington Street, and it's at the corner where cars speed up and down that street. And as a member of the Sustainability Commission, we don't have authorization to make any type of motion, but we can make suggestions. There are primary roads and then there's secondary roads. Well, this road happens to be a secondary road because of the traffic and the volume. Speeds in that area is 25 miles an hour, but when people speed in that area, they can go up to 70 miles an hour. There's been quite a few close calls with people getting hit, and there's also been quite a few people and children itself nearly hurt. So when we made the suggestion and we looked at other communities that had similar models of this type of scenario, talking about Stevenson Drive as a secondary, but a less of a primary road. There's temporary speed bumps that can be placed in those areas and they can be removed during seasonable times. I'm only bringing this up is just to help as an option to look at neighboring cities and look what they go through in high speed areas. They have placed 6 of them in that little half, maybe 2 blocks in a radius. And it did slow down some of the speeding, but also it's not a full-fledged speed bump where it is raised in an area. If you can, Look at, some cities like Ypsilanti, look at the speed bumps and look at the studies that they have gone through. It does save a lot. It also saves the township for not spending money to put full-fledged speed bumps in those areas. But also, these speed bumps can be removed, and they're yellow with black and white striping on it. Thank you.
So, TC, just to let you know, we did bring that up to our road commission. And they still said no to that. And you know, cities are not controlled by the road commission. Cities have jurisdiction over their own roads. So they can set their own speed limits. They can do what they want with the roads. They don't need to go to the road commission. But we asked them for that same thing because they can be removed in the winter and fix the plowing issue.
Well, the reason why I bring this up is that sometimes you can have a four-way intersection without a stop sign, and people can roll both ways without stopping. One day, Lord forbids, no one gets killed, but if someone gets killed, hurt, someone's gonna be liable. So either the township and the road commission and citizens' public comment, we all can come together and have this conversation. So that way we can save a life, because myself, I'm a disabled person because I was hit by a drunk driver and in a coma for 6 months. And the road of recovery has been difficult for me, but it can save a life. And might be one day, it might be one of yours or your loved one, or it might be one of your neighbors. But let's just all come together and try and come up with a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, TC. Anybody else wanna?
Yes, and I would just like to thank you in advance for setting up the meeting with the road commission and, the residents of Superior Township. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. It's been long overdue. I've been fighting and advocating for speed bumps and better signage down MacArthur for 4 years. 4 years, Mr. Ken, so we thank you for this meeting.
The meeting that is to be set.
Yes, we thank you.
She said, is there a difference between a speed bump and a speed hump? Speed humps,
Yes, there is a difference.
is that what TC was referring to, the humps that they can be removed?
What he was referring to is commonly called speed table.
Okay.
So they're larger and they're not as high.
We talked about those.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that I used to long time ago live in Ipsy Township, and on the street that I lived in Edison, and in that whole subdivision, there's speed bumps everywhere, and that's a township. So I don't know how they were able to do that. Anyway, I have a plan for.
Well, let me make sure everybody's.
Just want to say one more thing. I was really pleased to see that there's work, starting at Fireman's Park with the drainage issue. So I'm really, really pleased. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I need to get my name again, or?
No.
Okay. I'm Ramona Parker Mohammed, and I just wanted to circle back on just a couple of things. I would ask that we do a little more investigation on the sweep accounts, because having in my profession as a chief financial officer, I deal with sweep accounts, and I don't pay any fee to use them, and I don't pay any fee when I do any transactions, pulling money out to go back into my operating account. The other thing I'd like to point out is I heard a lot about what Chase does not do. We are their customer. We can move our money. I wouldn't shop any place that doesn't service me the way I need to be serviced. So I don't understand why we're still there. The other question I'd like to ask, because it was mentioned that the auditor was there. Who is the auditor and how long have they been on?
Auditor's name is Kenneth.
The mic, please.
Auditor's name is Kenneth Palka, Palka. They're in Brighton. And I think the full name of the firm is Hannaford and Palka. Hannaford, Pfeiffer, and Palka. Out of Brighton.
And how long have they been our auditor?
About 20 years or more.
Oh, really? Because the standard is 3 years.
Well,
so we might want to look into that.
3 years.
Yes.
I've said that you should switch auditors every few years, just for the sake of having fresh eyes on your books.
Yes.
The last time, I'm curious about the payment to Brenda McKinney, like what that was for. And finally, there was a statement about contention between the clerk's office and the treasurer's office. I just want to say, when you have a fiduciary responsibility, contention is not an issue. You do your job. You make sure your money is safe. You make sure your client is covered. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
I have one little thing. Yesterday, I had the absolute pleasure of volunteering with CLR for a community event that was hosted by Millville player Blake Corum. And our own Justin Harper, and along with all the Washington My Brother's Keeper, Supreme Felons, and several other folks were present in 3 different communities, handing out 200 turkeys and 200 gallons of milk to residents. The first stop was Sycamore Meadows, and it was a pleasure to be able to get out there yesterday morning and unload 200 turkeys at 9:30 in the morning. And then we followed and went over to Huron Heights and helped over there for a few before we peeled off when they were going over to Peary. But I just wanted to put on the record, there's some really great things that are happening in our townships, and just really proud of the fact that we chose CLR as an organization to have for the ARPA, because they go above and beyond just the, the programming for the kids. They really are focused on the community. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board?
I do, Bernice.
Brenda Baker.
Brenda, we'll take those citizens first.
I'm sorry, Brenda, I didn't know.
No, he had asked.
All right.
This is really trivial compared to all the other easy petitions, but it's the only opportunity for anybody to ask a question. On item number 10A, GFL commitment to relabel dumpsters. I'm wondering, the way the discussion went, it sounded like there were many, many dumpsters. Could we be talking about curb carts? And it matters to me because I have a curb cart and a dumpster, and many citizens say the same thing.
We're talking about.
Okay, well, it says dumpsters. There's a dumpster out here in the parking lot, and there's a dumpster down at the fire station. Yeah, I think it's compared to the other.
Okay, we got it. Thank you. I have I just want to thank the directors for completing reports that we asked them to do. And I do love the consent agenda. I think it has saved us at least 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So thank you.
It'll save even more once we can approve it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Mine's just, it's a little thing, but I want to bring it forward. The trustees get paid like.
Done taking care of that.
Oh, good. So I have to, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What was the question?
She'll tell you later. No, it's about meeting payments.
Okay. Okay. Bill, you got anything? We have a position?
Everybody, happy Thanksgiving.
Right.
You too, Bill.
Anybody else in the audience have a plea or petition to the board? Going once?
Can I say something? I just have to really quickly. Maybe it's just like my new mission, because I was sitting here thinking about when I get up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, and in the middle of the day I'm limping. And I'm limping because I fell on the sidewalks and I broke my ankle and my leg. So I really think about last meeting, I sat next to Jared Clifton, and that was the first time I met him, and he was very passionate about those speed bumps. So whatever you could do, I mean, even if you bring him to the meeting, I think it takes people, and you have to be persistent. So let's get it done. Let's start there. Let's just get that done.
Great. I agree on that.
Okay, seeing no more, motion to adjourn? In favor of leaving, just head up. Thank you very much.
What is it?
Now,
It is moving back to right here. I'm happy to get out of here now. I am too. I can do this right away. Watch my back. Oh, run. Huh?